Welcome to BFF Podcast. I'm Debbie G.
I'm Sheridan.
How you doing? You just had surgery.
I did.
Tell us all about it.
It went really well, and I only had to take like 3 ibuprofen.
She had surgery on her knee. Mm-hmm. And it really looks good. That was God's grace. Thank you for everyone for praying, because we did a prayer request out on this. You look healthy and tanned.
I don't know how. It just happened. I didn't do any. I haven't been out.
You haven't been out because you can't walk yet. She walked today. So we're excited. So I'm so grateful that you're feeling well.
Thank you.
So we're going to get right to the point here. We usually talk about COVID in our things. Well, COVID's not the thing we're going to be talking about.
We're going to be talking about another disease.
Yeah, it's called codependency.
And it's infectious.
It's an infectious disease, more so than COVID, I think.
Absolutely.
So just take a look at your family. Your family may not have COVID, but
you got codependency.
You got codependency running rampant in the house.
Yes.
Okay.
Could you imagine if there was a codependency test? How many people? I think 99% of people would test positive.
That's actually a true percentage. That like 95 to 99% of the population is codependent.
I know I was.
And generation, because we're talking about generational patterns some more.
Yes.
Yes. So we talked about generational patterns last week. We're going to be talking about generational patterns again this week, because it's a long thing. And so let's go ahead and get the definition for codependency.
Okay.
So I have it right here.
Do you want to read it?
I'm going to read it to you. So here it is. Codependency, a relationship in which a person having low self-esteem or insecurity with a need for approval, how many people of us are out there, attaches themselves to another person and places the need of that person before his or her own at the detriment of their own life.
Yes.
And the reason for that is to find approval and value.
Yes.
That is codependency.
Yes. And deadly. It's a killer. It's a killer.
Yeah. And if I will just look at my own family, right? Because codependency runs very deep in our family. If you remember the conversation that we had last week, it's like when I started putting boundaries in front of my family, they were so crazed by that because codependency was so deep in our roots that it was like, what are you doing? You're changing everything.
Yes.
And so my mom, who was raised in an Italian home and had her own hurts, there in her home, just was basically looking for love, looking for care.
Yes.
And back in those days, you got married and you moved, right?
Yeah.
It was just that. You didn't really go out and have your own place. You raised up and you got married and you had kids.
There's no search for your identity and your value.
You're
and your
told
place.
who you are.
Yes.
You are going to be a mother and a housewife.
Yes. Yep. And that's your next milestone. So go get it done.
Go get a husband.
Yeah. And you have there's no identity.
Yeah. It's just, I have a job to do.
Yes.
My job is that I need to be a mother.
Yes.
And so with that, she is with my dad, and of course it's like everybody loves each other, right? And they loved each other. They said the first 5 years were awesome.
Until what happened?
Until it was the 6th year.
Oh.
And I was just small, so I really don't know what happened. But you know, when a man starts looking for approval in his job. Now, my father was raised with an amazing work ethic, and he's a very smart man. But then all of a sudden you have a job and they're saying, well, if you went to school and you could do this and you could better yourself, and then all of a sudden the promotion started coming and the family wasn't that important anymore, only because he was going after what he was told to go after.
Yes.
Which was, you need to better your skill set, which is fine, right? But your job needs to be your priority.
Yes, I was just going to say
family.
that. Yeah.
And so we got a woman here who's looking for the fact that, hey, I'm supposed to be doing this. My identity is wrapped up in you because that's what I was told.
Yes.
And now you're over there and I'm lost again.
Yeah.
And so then we start clutching,
Yes.
right?
Yes, because you got shaky ground, and
Yep.
everything inside of you is fixing to be blown up, and it's all being questioned, and you're like, oh, what's
Because
up?
we don't have a sense of security or
Yes.
significance in who just we are,
Amen.
you know? And for those of us who are Christ followers, our security is in our significance is found in Him.
Yeah, our identity is found in Him.
But I'll just call it out. There's a lot of people who call themselves Christians who are like way so codependent because they haven't either recognized that in themselves or they're so active in their codependency that they don't even see it.
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
listen, people.
I definitely didn't see it.
Well, I didn't see it.
I had no eyes.
I had
no
to have a
awareness for
wake-up
it.
call.
Yes, me too. And it was not a
And it's like, what? Oh my God.
Could you just have texted me? Did you have to like wake up?
Boom, God. Changed everything. Changed everything.
For real.
And so freeing oneself from codependency and fear is vital for our well-being. And actually for the other person's well-being too, because we have placed a huge burden on them without even knowing it because, okay, now I'm codependent on you and I'm going to do everything for you, so you have no freedom because I'm going to do it and you're not going to have a chance to learn or be your own person because I'm going to be there to take care of everything all the time.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Can you believe we ran that crazy race?
I can.
Now that I'm saying, I'm getting a little nauseous.
I bet there's going to be several people who are listening. They're like, oh no, that kind of sounds like me, or I can see that, and you start to have eyes to see that.
Yeah.
Because when you're
praise God for that.
Absolutely. When you're so involved and in that, it is really, really hard to be extracted out of it so you can even have eyes to see what's happening.
Yes.
And I had to be extracted out of it.
Yes.
And woken up and lost everything in order to see that.
Well, I didn't have to lose everything. I had the wake-up call right, from taking that class. But then my family was just like, what the heck is going on here? You obviously don't love us now. It's like, it's
Right.
nothing to do with love.
Yeah.
It's got to do with learning how to be well for myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But that was after my first marriage, right? Mm-hmm. It was the end of my first marriage, right? There's many reasons why that didn't happen to go the longevity that we all hope our first marriages make.
Absolutely.
But it's just like we find our value in something else because we don't find it in who we are at all.
And who he says we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So talk to me about, so that last quote said, freeing
oneself
from codependency and fear is vital for your well-being. So how do...
Okay, so let's talk about
let's
that.
talk about, codependency and fear being in a marriage.
Okay, so...
not in a marriage like people, but they cohabitate, if y'all understand what I'm saying. Like,
well,
they
I
go
can
hand
just
in
share.
hand.
I can just share with Dennis and me.
Okay.
Because even though I had this big wake-up call and I started to have boundaries, when Dennis and I got married, so my love language is acts of service anyway. So you take a caregiving codependent whose love language is acts of service, and it's crazy.
It's off the charts.
It is. And Dennis's love language is words of affirmation, right? I don't need words of affirmation. I need you to clean my house, okay? That's my love language. Give me an act of service, okay? So I'm giving Dennis all this act of service, and he doesn't care because that's not his love language.
Right.
And so he's telling me all these wonderful things, and I'm like, no, because that's not my love language. And so I'm thinking I'm not being valued, right?
Okay.
So in that, I'm not being valued. My husband doesn't see my worth, my value.
Yes.
And so I am losing my security.
Yes.
So now I'm going to stop doing these things so that I can sense that you love me for who I am instead of the things that I do.
Yes, yes.
And I even had this conversation like, Dennis, this is not your problem, this is mine. And he said, okay, well, stop doing it. And I'm like, okay, I just want to let you know that, okay? And he's like, I don't care. And he's like, I'm like, really? He's like, No, I don't care. But I couldn't help myself doing these things anyway. So anyways, so I was fearful of stopping doing these things because I thought that it was going to cause him not to love me.
Yes.
As crazy as that sounds.
Yes.
Doesn't it sound crazy?
It does. It does, but it's so believable. It's so believable to ourselves.
So true.
It's so believable. It sounds so cool when we say it to ourselves while you're in it. You're like, God, you're good. You're doing awesome. You're like, you're not.
No, no,
You're totally not very much.
And now, because I'm not codependent anymore on him, he's like, I'll be like, honey, you got to take care of that yourself. And he's like, okay. and he's good with it. He's fine with that. But it's fearful. We have to be able to overcome fear to be able to put those boundaries up so that we can have healthy, authentic relationships instead of codependent, destructive relationships.
Yes.
And we see this passed down. So here's a quick question.
Okay.
Have you ever been in a relationship where you needed to walk on eggshells?
That's how I grew up.
Oh, me too.
And even in my,
In
a
my
lot
marriage.
a lot of my relationships. That's why you don't talk about anything, because it hurts. So you just tip it all around
Or you're
on eggshells.
fearful to say something.
Yeah.
Because what if they're going to blow up?
Oh, I know. And you're not trying to have any more hurt.
Right. So it's just like, we'll
Yep.
just put it under the
You
rug.
just smile
And that's a codependent thing because we haven't been taught how to deal with conflict.
No.
Let's just pretend it's not there.
Exactly.
Let's just pretend it's not there.
Exactly.
Talk about conflict. Our country is in a state of conflict. Hopefully, this is over very soon. If it's not over.
It's in a state of some serious hurt and trauma.
Yes.
And by those traumas happening, a lot of us in reaction to the traumas are creating more trauma.
Yeah.
And it's...
Yes, and I have to say something, and I hope it doesn't offend people. You just have to hear it. One of the things that we want to have is a platform for authenticity, no matter what the conversation might be. And let's just talk about, we were raised to always honor our police. Always. Honor our policemen, honor the fire department, just respect that calling in life. And so I always have. My flag is raised in our home. I love this country. I love what it stands for. But I know I was raised in the heart of Chicago. And so being raised in the heart of Chicago, not me so much, though it was still evident when I was little, but my parents were raised this way, is that every neighborhood was segregated.
Yeah.
Every neighborhood was segregated.
You stay with your own people.
Yeah, the Italians are over here, the Irish are over here, the Puerto Ricans were over here, the Polacks were over here, the blacks were... Everybody had their own, that's it, that's your block, that's it, don't cross those lines, right? Well, my mom's mom was a line breaker. And so was my grandpa. Total, I'm walking across the boundary. And I'm so grateful because I wouldn't be here if they wouldn't have.
Yes.
And she was 100% Italian, he was 100% Polak. And in fact, my great-grandmother, my Nana's mom, didn't believe that she could be a virgin because she was hanging out with a Polak. And they were called a dirty Polak at that time.
Oh, wow.
That she was not allowed to get married in a white wedding dress.
Wow, how interesting.
She had to wear a brown dress. And she did. She wore a brown dress. I have that picture. I cherish that picture. And I am so proud of those two people who have said, we love each other and we're going to raise a family together. And so my mom's family was just, man, they just they loved everybody, just loved everybody. They didn't matter who it was.
Yeah.
And that was wonderful because that's how my mom was raised, and so I was raised that way. My father was raised differently. You know, my father was raised in the really difficult part of Chicago. And so you separated yourself from everybody else. And so there was racism in my father's side of the family. And so I had both. I was raised with both. And so, and I remember really watching my mom when I had the understanding of it. Because as a kid, you don't have an understanding of this. It's just like, what? But when I started to have an understanding of this, because there's a lot of divide. You know, it's men or women or, you know, whatever creed you might be or ethnicity. It doesn't matter. There's a ton of stuff that people are like, whatever. But I remember coming to that place where I was allowed to make my decision. And what I did is I looked at the way my mom was, and I saw the joy that she found in people. And I found that she just got along with everybody. And she was so great. She had the greatest personality and just loved to laugh, loved to have fun. And I'm like, I like her life much better than I like my dad's.
Yeah.
My dad's life was very somber and very difficult, and you didn't see a lot of joy in him. And so I just chose, I like my mom's life better. So I'm just going to choose that. And so I never really, it's just like I see people's, it's weird. I was praying about this. And of course, we hear people say, we don't see color. The truth of the matter is we see color. I'm looking outside the window. I see green. I see, you know, all these other colors. We see color. We can't deny that we see color, right? And color makes life beautiful. It just does, right? And so, but what I see is I see what the need might be, right? And I'll share you a story. I was driving here to go to the store for something, just on the street right here, and I saw a woman struggling with packages. I'm thinking to myself, as I saw her, it's hot outside. You have packages bigger than you are, and you're walking down the street, and I know you must live in the apartments that are at least a half a mile away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I turned my car around and I said, you need some help? And she's like, yes, I do. And I'm like, let me get you home. And I just kind of like basically said, lady, did you really look at these things weigh a ton? What are you doing? And she's like, I know. and I got her home, drove her home, and all that kind of good stuff. Now, the whole matter isn't what color this woman was.
Right.
The thing is the woman was struggling, and I could meet a need, and I was going to meet this need.
Yes.
So when I look at people, and we get introduced, and we see color, we see ethnicity, you know, okay, fine,
but there's
great,
no
it's
value on
it's,
that.
It's like, whatever, let's move on to what's in your heart.
Absolutely.
Let's get to know you.
Absolutely.
What is your need?
Yes.
You know, I want to know who you are. And it's just, that's how my mom was. And that's how I grew up. And that's who I want to be as a believer in Christ. Our goal is to treat one another like we want to be treated.
Absolutely.
And to love one another the way He has loved us.
Yes.
And the way we love each other.
Yes.
Ourselves.
Yes.
And that's all. The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He wants to divide the world.
Yes.
And we have witnessed that so much since this COVID thing, and it just kind of keeps lingering through this thing. And so this can be a generational pattern as well. And so I want people to understand that we don't have to stay in our generational patterns.
No.
We can be the one that says, I am going the one that's going to break this generational pattern.
Yes.
We started, my brothers and I started the breaking of generational pattern of violence in our family. Right? So violence is not accepted any longer. It's just not accepted, which it was before, right? Addiction was just part of the game. Smoking, just part of the game. Those are unacceptable in many of our family situations.
Yeah,
now.
they create more drama and trauma and more hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so even when we look at racism or ethnicity or creed or whatever, it's like, if you're not a Catholic, because we were raised Catholic, don't talk to those people.
Right.
Well, why? Why wouldn't I talk to those people? I don't understand why I can't talk to these people.
Right.
Right? And the same thing with all that is going on in this world. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Satan wants to come and divide the body.
Yes.
And we can't let that happen.
If the body is fractured, it cannot unite and it cannot grow.
And it can't be healthy. It can't work the way it was called to
right.
work, right? Okay, so I had to just say that. So if you got an opinion about that, what I just talked about, please message us, because I don't want to have a platform of just bad talk. So
Right.
or that. But if you want to understand me, I will be happy to share with you. And I want to understand you. You know, that's the whole idea. Let's understand each other. That's it.
Yes.
That's basically what it is.
Yes.
All right, so that's generational patterns we continue to talk about. Okay?
Yes.
So codependency is another word for insecurity. We're insecure about something. And it will destroy you if you do not get a handle on it.
Yes.
This is what we're experiencing worldwide. We're all insecure.
Totally.
You better wear your mask, because I'm insecure that you're going to give me something.
Yes.
Okay. If I have to wear a mask because it makes you feel better, we'll talk about it. Right? Because I haven't worn a mask one
Yeah.
time. But we had to.
Yes.
Because we were going to a homeless shelter, and well, that was the rules to get on the campus, and we needed to do that.
Yes.
But if you want to, let me understand why you do, and I do understand why a lot of people wear them. You know, there's a lot of people that don't have good health. I'm good in my health. I'm healthy. I feel great. Nothing's happened. I'm not going to wear a mask. I don't want to wear a mask.
Right.
But when it comes to loving other people, man, I want to do that. I want to understand. I want to love. That's what Jesus calls us to do.
Yes.
Love one another.
Yes, I know. For me, I'm just going to touch on it real quick. That was always an insecure place for me. You said the word love, and some other type of definition would come up in my head that was not secure. It was a place of hurt. You say you love me, but you're treating me otherwise. So I'm very confused and I'm very insecure, and I don't know who I am anymore, and I don't even know how to love myself or others. And so
Okay, that could be so true, because I remember thinking that same type of way.
Yeah.
Because my definition of love was really
Way off.
Way off.
Way off.
The definition of love is in the Bible. Love is patient, it is kind, it is not self-seeking, it is not boastful, it is not rude, it covers, it perseveres. That's what love does.
Yes.
That's
yes.
love.
It doesn't keep a record of wrongs.
No, it doesn't. And so that's what
It
Jesus
doesn't
calls
hurt.
us. And he does that to us. He loves us that way. And we're supposed to share that kind of love with others as well. And that's a learned discipline. That is not an
absolutely
easy
is. No, that is a
my God.
learned thing. That is an unlearned thing from what you thought was love, and then a learned thing.
Because I
Totally.
promise you, how many times we would say, do you remember when you did this? Just
real.
bringing it up to people and throwing it out there.
For real.
Oh my
You're like,
God.
let me bring out the chart.
Yeah, that's
you got one.
I have a diary of all those things you did. So let me pull it out and read it to you.
real.
Right? Okay, how
Oh,
we
yeah.
would keep a record of wrongs, right? And we
real.
were always self-seeking.
Yes.
It's all about me all the time.
Yes.
I matter, my opinion, what I want, what I
Yeah.
need.
Me,
you,
me,
It's all me.
me.
Wow.
That's called the me monster.
Okay, that
It
is like scary.
That's, I know.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
what happens inside.
Oh, it does.
It totally does.
And it's very interesting because in Galatians 5, in the 5th chapter of Galatians, it says that Jesus has set us free for the sake of loving and serving one another.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Nothing else. And you cannot have selfish and love and serve another in the same
You can't.
sentence. That
You
doesn't.
can't.
No, it's not about us.
It's not about us.
We're not that cool. I'm not that cool. You're like, but I am.
I think I'm pretty cool. When I come face to face with Jesus, I'll be like,
you know what I mean.
I think I have come a long way from where I was. I still have a long way to go.
Absolutely.
But I'm excited that healing and restoration and clear thinking has happened in my life.
It's very exciting.
And so for generational patterns, and there's still so many more to go out there, look at your family, look at yourself. Look at the things that you see in your family that you say, gosh, I wish that were different. And then you be the game changer.
Yeah.
You be the one that says, I'm going to be the one who breaks this habit.
Yes.
This pattern.
Yes.
This destructive way of thinking and living.
Yes.
I will be that person who breaks that.
Beautiful.
Amen. And we just, generation should get stronger and stronger and stronger. And one day, and it's promised to us in the Word, that we'll all live in peace and in joy. The lion will lay down with the lamb. We will be able to be one. Every tongue, every tribe, from every generation and every nation will come together in the New Jerusalem and in heaven. And I can't wait for that.
And we
time.
can even start
start
to begin to cultivate that around us even now.
And it's very sad that we can't do that now. Breaks my heart that we can't do that now. But we can start to be the change makers. Let's be God chasers. Let's be bondage breakers. Let's go make a difference in our world for the better.
Yes.
And let's learn how to love one another the way we have been told. Amen.
Very good. Yes.
Okay, so that's enough for now. We'll see you later. I hope you're okay after that. God is good. He is faithful. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Bye. There is